Let's go.
Talk through my world trip. Well, where do we start? Oh, probably should start with the prep, how it all started, really. New Zealand, really. When I was living in New Zealand, I came up with the idea of my dad, Kevin Sanders, who runs Globebusters. So we both came up with an idea of doing a father-son trip, London to Bangkok, and then sort of progressed from there, really, of me continuing onwards from there and going around the world solo at 22 years old. It feels like a lifetime ago.
Video diary number 1, day 1, 6 in the morning. It's here. Mix of emotions, excitement, nerves. It's that feeling of you going away, and my home is on that bike, my wardrobe. I'll be leaving with a massive smile on my face. I can't believe it's here. And to be, to know that you're going to be 22, seeing the world, like the world, being away for a year, that's just...
What drove me really for the trip was more the travel, the passion of the travel of, just living life and chasing a dream, and not just chasing a dream but living it, waking up and living it. And it was more just doing something there and now, and doing the impossible. And that was more the drive than anything. And the biking bit, well, that's just the fun bit, isn't it, really? So how did I start planning the trip? Well, how will I make this possible? I mean, I was 21 when I came up with the idea, 21 years old, so it was impossible. It really was impossible. It was impossible for me. I thought it was impossible. But once the idea was there in their head, and once the passion kicked in, it was the passion of when I really wanted to. I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this. One of the biggest advice I tell people, and something which was part of the prep, is get a whiteboard. Get a whiteboard. On the whiteboard, it's fantastic because I get errors all the time. So I can just rub it out and then redo it. And that's fantastic for anyone. If there's any sort of goal or target you're trying to aim for, then get a whiteboard and start writing your ideas down, because that is the first step. And that was my first step.
I hope from my stories that I won't be the last, that people will follow my footsteps and get out there and do so. Down to the Ace Calf, have a bit of brekkie, and then send off. Get a nice little wave off, a police escort, and then down to France, down to the tunnel.
Rhys, good luck. Thank you. Good luck, man. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, my man. Yeah.
Honest, I mean, it of course wasn't smooth sailing. I hit a T-junction, like I call it a T-junction. I got a bar opportunity to go work in Vegas. Fantastic opportunity, of course, in the bar. I mean, that's, you know, and I did all the flaring. That was prime. I had a girlfriend as well, and you know, it was the safe option, really. I was very tempted. I got that phone call about 3 months after sort of came up with the idea, and sort of the few things was only a couple of things was on the whiteboard. Shit, am I going to do this? And I said, yeah. So I dropped everything. And I said, I am doing this. And that's where that passion came in, and thought, no, let's do this. I have the opportunity. You know, we all get opportunities in life for one thing or another, you know. And life gave me this opportunity, you know. And I took it. I took it with two hands. So I said no to the job in Vegas. I booked my flight to England and started saving, started getting the credit cards, getting the whiteboard out, getting the maps out, and then I started planting maps all around the wall. And yeah, it was really, that was the fun time, I must say, because, you know, it was like, wow, you're going into the unknown, you know, who knows what's going to happen. You make sacrifices. You know, you're determined. You start making action. You stop dreaming. And that's the thing, is you stop dreaming. You wake up and you actually live. And you actually act on the dream. And then it starts to become a snowball effect. And then you find more doors open. And then next minute this happens. And the next minute this happens. And then all of a sudden all these things are happening. And that's sort of what happened, really. And then before I know it, I'm at the London show. And I'm going around to the manufacturers saying, look, I'm going to go around the world. I'm going to be the youngest. I've got these media. I've got a PR team behind me, Fab Biker Boys. Yeah, and from there it was like, right, BMW, KTM, Triumph. Went to the mall, said, look, this is what I'm doing. You know, what can you offer me? It's happening. I'm leaving 2nd of May, with or without you guys. So, of course, I wanted Triumph. Kept pushing them. And I think it was to the point where it was like, I need to get my Chinese visa now. I need to get my Chinese permits. I need to know. It's a massive achievement for me. You know, sitting there at 22, you're sitting there having a board meeting with business people, which you know, in a big manufacturer company, multi-million-dollar company, you have no idea who these people are, or no idea what position they are, and all this sort of stuff, and you're just like, oh. And the biggest thing I had to sell to Triumph and Dutch and the Truth is, of course, again, I'm 22. Yeah, I'm quite mature for my age, but I had to really portray that, you know, because Triumph, you're essentially, when you're sponsored, they're not just giving you a bike to go on a holiday. You know, you're not going on a holiday. You know, I was trying to achieve something here. You know, I was trying to set a benchmark. I was trying to do something. And with that comes responsibility. And I had Triumph's badge on my chest, and to them, they want to make sure they're giving that badge to the right person. You know, insurance that it's going to happen, insurance that it's going to work, insurance that I'm not just going to go and be a 22-year-old and get drunk and pop wheelies and all this sort of stuff. That I had to truly represent myself, mature, give them the confidence. And there's all this stuff which went on. Of course, all the visas went through. I prepped the bike. I got the bike prepped up. So of course I then got the Tiger 800, and then stripped her down. Found, you know, what bolts she uses, what Allen keys I need, what Allen keys I don't need. tire pumps, and then started going through everything, tire pumps, clothes, luggage, and riding training. I did some slow training, of course. I wasn't the best. I never raced when I was younger. I was just a good to average commuter, if you must commute to the bar. But of course, my old man, he's a very expert rider, and he was teaching me what he knows. I then went to Trail Quest. Those guys were good. They took me around, their trails. I came off at one stage. But again, it was getting the feel of the Tiger 800. I had the metal mule panniers on as well, so I was trying to get used to, because of course I went to metal mule panniers, so it's getting used to the panniers on as well. So getting the feeling of gravel, getting the feeling of mud, getting the feel of the bike being loose underneath, which was good for me. So there's all these elements which started kicking off, and then of course you're just living every day. Wow, this is going to happen. So every day your job really is planning the world trip. So I wanted to come up with, I came up with that actually earlier, but I wanted to come up with something which represents young people of tomorrow. And then that's when I thought Tomorrow Rider, the riders of tomorrow. And then that's when I really wanted to push and touch back on what I was saying about, my drive was travel. The drive for me was doing it and just living life fully, being happy, doing what you want to do, not what the system says you got to do. I'm dyslexic. I don't go around labelizing it, but I'm dyslexic. I struggle to read and write, but physically, that's where I'm strong at. Some people aren't good at that. Some people are good at academics. And this is the thing, and it's like everyone's different. Everyone has their own dreams, their own passion, their own goals. The thing of, look, I want to inspire young people. I'm doing this great thing, this amazing thing. Like I was saying, this should be on my headlines everywhere. And that's where I was like, this should be everywhere. That I want to utilize and inspire other people. Not to go ride around the world, but to just go do what they want to do. And that was where the Tomorrow Rider phrase came in. I started learning Photoshop, I started learning video editing, getting all the Adobe systems and learning Illustrator, how to design a logo, and and then how to design a website by myself. People think I have a full backup team behind me and doing my website and social media. That's bollocks. I don't have all that. I'm doing my website, I'm doing my Facebook, I do all my media stuff. I had my PR team, Fab Biker Boys. They were doing stuff with sponsors. They were doing my sponsors, and they were doing my press releases for when the trip was happening, and the pre-trip, and and news feeds, going out. But all the other stuff, that was all Mr. 22-year-old Rhys Lawrey. Yeah. Yes, one of the big things was money. And a lot of people do question, of course, money. Yeah, that's a factor. And I know, and I always laugh at this, and I'm going to touch on it a little bit, but I do laugh at the people out there who really make a dig at me, because of course they think, sponsors and all this stuff, it's a sponsored trip, which it was. I had sponsors. It wasn't a fully sponsored trip, as in I got paid, I got a free world trip. I'll touch on that in a second. The biggest thing I asked them is, what were you doing at 21? They don't have the money either at 21, 22, and I go, exactly. But then people go, well, how did you pay for it? And I say, well, the truth is I'm still paying for it. I'm paying for it right now, just nearly 2 years after the trip, I'm still paying for it. I got credit cards, which is why I link back to the bar, because the bar helped me. Because I had such, I was working full time, I was a manager at 19, so I had a salary, I had great credit, I didn't have a house, didn't have kids or anything like that, I was living with my mum still, so it was like, so the banks looked at me, and when I said, I just want a credit card, they said, yeah, I already had one, so I said I want to increase. I went to another bank, I said I'm thinking of changing, give me a credit card. So I had about 4 credit cards, to be honest. And yeah, I've been a few sponsors here and there, gave a helping hand, and now I'm back behind the bar, back working, and I've got a massive loan, which has paid all the credit cards off to make it easier to manage. And yeah, I just call it my student loan. It's just, I wasn't a student. Oh, I sort of was. I was a student of life, so to speak. So really, that's where it all started. That was all the plan, really. And then departure day, 3rd of May, left Ace from London, across Europe, and then into Central Asia. Now, the first leg I was with Globebusters to get into China, because the only cost-effective way is to go with a group. So I went with them, and then went off by myself through Australia, and then into New Zealand, and then on to America, and then south, all the way down to the bottom of South America into Ushuaia, and into the Montevideo, Uruguay. Now that's where I started the capital city record, and then from there onwards I continued ticking only capital cities. I did that in South Africa, and then back into Europe, where I just basically ticked off every capital city in Europe, and then back into the UK doing the capital cities, and then finished back in London the 17th of July. I had no clue what was going to happen. No clue at all. I was going into the bliss, and it was, yeah, I just didn't know what to feel, really.